speaking, so can you hear me okay?
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Jenny, for those of you who don't know me. And our inspired reading today comes from The Science of Mind, page 406.1 by Ernest Holmes. Since spirit is present in its entirety at all times and in all places, it follows that all of spirit is wherever we center our attention.
Amen.
And since spirit is both receptivity and creative responsiveness, it follows that wherever we center our attention, spirit's image must concentrate substance into the form of such attention. This is our fundamental concept of mental and spiritual treatment.
Awesome.
Yes.
And then we want to stay there until we do the
Oh, yes, thank you.
affirmation. Okay.
Thank you. Please join me with our affirmation.
I am a willing guardian and steward
of the one eternal light of spirit. Therefore, my prayers are declarations of spiritual truth that set me free,
lead to greater happiness and fulfillment, and help to create a world that works for everyone.
Woo!
Yeah. Woo! Hey, in unison.
All right, Jenny, good job.
Thank you.
I come back inspired. Inspired. In fact, are you going to put that in, Mary, for me? No, you. No, at the beginning. Yeah. So while she's setting that up. So while I was away at the retreat, this center, and I went with Reverend Linda and Peggy, I was during that whole process, I was so inspired by the leadership that oversees this entire community. That's okay. That's okay. This is for a purpose. Go ahead, put it in. And so I wanted to start my message in this way. I'd like all of you just to stay focused on the tone. Think of it as an ohm. You can ohm along with it. This is going to take about a minute, but there is a purpose in this. So if we can just all ohm. Another breath. Om. Eternal Om. So just keep ohming. Take a breath when you can and keep ohming. Om. Thank you, Mary.
We're popped.
We're popped. I love analogies. How does a popcorn start out? Right? Heat is added to it. Right? Heat is added to it. And what happens? It begins to pop into its fullness, popcorn. We too are the seed of the divine, each one of us. We are the seed of the divine, waiting to move into our fully popped expression. And it sometimes takes a lot of heat to get that going, doesn't it? You know, at the conference this week, one of the things that Dr. Ken Gordon talked about was 3 different levels of awareness that are in the world. And this is not just currently, but really for probably since the dawning of humanity into the world. The first type of consciousness, and it really much aligns with what we teach too when we talk about the levels of consciousness, but the first level of awareness is self-interest. I want to get what's mine. And it's a win or lose type of a way of being. It's focused on my interests or the interests of my tribe without regard to other tribes or other peoples anywhere or anybody who's not like me. So in this self-interest, there can be a lot of aggression, violence, conflict, um, stepping beyond principles of love to get what I want, you know, what I think is mine. It turns into self-aggrandizement in some cases, and dishonesty, and just doing whatever it takes to be the winner. So that's one level. The next level is you know there's an opening and a greater awareness. Well, there are more people around besides me, and part of all of us working together and getting along is collaboration and looking at the interests of the greater whole. You know, what is good for all people everywhere is good for me because we're all one. So there's a dawning of an awareness and a true working toward helping humanity and making a difference in the world and being a beneficial presence. But the one thing that happens though, is when things get hard and tough and times get dark, this level of consciousness, because it's not well grounded in spiritual practice and principle, will tend to resort back to level 1, self-interest, aggression, and so on. But then there's and this is all, by the way, if you want to read more about it, I found it on the Huffington Post in detail, and Michael Meade is the author of it. And then the level of consciousness that happens is after people go through a dark night of the soul, have had some sort of loss, issues with health, financial difficulties, or any type of thing that is divorce. I mean, it could be anything that has really put us in a very deeply questioning and maybe painful experience of what is life really all about. So that dark night, then, if it's you, and that's the heat I'm talking about, that dark night can help to awaken us to the light that we are. And in that type of consciousness that is well strengthened by spiritual practice, by meditation, by prayer, by journaling, by yoga, by whatever the methods are, strengthened, a real strong consciousness is that which then sustains. That's okay. That's okay. It must mean that we're supposed to pay attention. That was like, pay attention. I see it as all spirit working together. That's right. So when we're well anchored and grounded then in principle, when our hearts are burst open by the challenges in our lives, and we now see there are more people in this than just us or just our tribe, but we're here on this planet with not only all these people, we are here on the planet. There's somebody who was just trying to get in. Would one of the Virgie, would you go see who that is, or somebody? She tried to get in. Um, we when we get to that point and we realize we're all in this together, that we can't we can't truly thrive on this planet until everyone is thriving. And in addition to that, it's not just humanity, it's the whole plant and animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the ecology, the environment of the earth, all of it is encompassed. So the heart is now as wide as the world and really wants the best for all. Do you see what happens there? So this is the birthing of the new humanity that's taking place on this planet, and it's happening everywhere. It's not just happening in our spiritual tradition. It's happening in the Buddhist traditions, in the Hindu traditions, in the Christian traditions, in the in the Muslim faith. It's happening all over where hearts are opening and we're realizing we're all in this together. And that is what this month we're talking about spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. That is what the type of prayer that we teach is all about. It's about cultivating that higher level of consciousness, helping to heal our own inner wounds and hurts, and to help us to move beyond that, to be that beneficial presence on the planet, to be able to hear what is ours to do, to be able to be tapped in and tuned in to what our particular part is on this amazing planet that we participate in. So spiritual mind treatment, I know when people first come into this, they go, spiritual mind treatment? And what we're really talking about is prayer. It's a form of prayer that we use that is affirmative and scientific, meaning that it takes us into a higher level of consciousness. It's designed to move us into that higher state. And the other thing that's so cool about it that really dawned on me is it encompasses everything we teach in this spiritual teaching. It encompasses everything. It lays it out step by step, all that we believe. So we are literally planting seeds in our own consciousness of higher truth, And we are transforming our consciousness then from separation, from all of the stuff that causes such a big mess on this planet, to a heart of love, to an appreciation for life, to a willingness to work with others, to make this world work for everyone, to do our part so that this world truly works for everyone. Anybody for that? I mean, anybody up for that? So I think now, hopefully, I've really piqued your interest. If you've heard of spiritual mind treatment and you don't use it daily, maybe I've piqued your interest. And if you've never heard it before, maybe now you're like, okay, so what is that? What is this thing? So what I've done is there is actually a beautiful handout. I don't want you to read it now, but there's a handout that I put on everybody's chair. And it's just a very simple way of teaching this type of prayer, remembering that what it does, it's a logical progression that helps us to open our hearts to higher truth, to help us to see who we are in truth, to see the world as the universe as a place of good in which good can happen through us and as us. And to open our hearts to all of life, to realize we're all one, we're all in this together. And so it is a path to becoming the presence that we wish to see in the world. That leader that we wish would save us from whatever, is going on in the world. It's rather than putting it on somebody else, we take 100% responsibility for being that presence ourselves. Because that's how things are really going to transform. It's not by one person or a couple people or whatever doing the work for us. It's about all of us becoming that presence of love and bringing our particular gifts. And we are, believe me, we are loaded with gifts. We have the God seed within us. We have so much to give, each one of us. And, as we turn inward toward meditation and we listen to what is ours to do, and as we cultivate the consciousness of oneness and love and peace in our own hearts through spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, as we combine those two, wow. And if we do it on a daily basis, Ernest Holmes recommends that we think about God twice a day, at least twice a day. Just take a moment, sit down, and think about God. If God doesn't work for you, if that word doesn't work, source, presence, the Great Spirit, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter to me. But taking time to be quiet and listen within to what is the great source, the great intelligence that gives rise to this amazing universe. And we have so much in the scientific field now that's backing this up. That book, The Power of Eight, that we talked about and the process we're doing afterwards, they've done scientific documentation on the effectiveness of the power of the word. And that's what we're using when we do spiritual mind treatment. We're using the creative power that's already within us to bring forth that divine magnificence that we are into the world to really shift and change things. So what is this thing called spiritual mind treatment? Let me just kind of lay it out for you. There are 5 steps to it, and we learn it in a 5-step system. But the thing that's really important is to realize you don't have to be a poet to do it. You don't even have to use a lot of words, because what you're doing is you're cultivating a feeling. It's a feeling state, right? It's the feeling state or the vibration that we become that is the atmosphere in which our dreams are born and in which we really make a difference in the lives of others. If we show up in a vibrational state of love, we are so much more beneficial than if we're in fear. I mean, that's just the way it is. So it helps us to open our hearts, to live in a state of awe and wonder of this amazing universe, and to use our creative power to make a difference in the world. So this is basically it. Recognition. Recognition is simply this. All there is one presence, one life, one power, one source. And it's about thinking about this source, this presence of God, or this life, this one life, and how amazing it is. We can think about not only this universe, but we hear there are multi-universes. What is this amazing intelligence and love and presence of order and law that creates universes? Oh my gosh! Getting into that state of wonder and awe about it. Unification. I am that presence in person. Every one of us are. We are that life in person. And you heard that beautiful reading that Jenny read. When you look at it from a quantum level, and scientists will tell you this, the totality of spirit, the universe, the presence is present everywhere, everywhere, every space. The totality of it, all of it is present everywhere. And every time we speak and think, it's focused through our word and through our thoughts. And we can, therefore, guide that focus to higher thoughts. And we talked about the broadcasting system last week, that we are a spiritual broadcasting system, but we are also receiving the broadcast of the Most High, ideas in the mind of the divine. We are receiving that broadcast. And the thing is are we fertile ground for those seeds? Are we? That's what we're doing. When we do spiritual mind treatment and meditation, affirmative prayer and meditation, we are creating fertile ground. We are taking out all the rocks and all the weeds and all of that that's getting in the way, and creating this really nice, rich, fertile soil for the universal thoughts in the mind of the divine to inspire us and to use us for a greater good. I love that. So the unification then is knowing that we are one with that presence. And realization, that's when we actually say, so now that I know who I am in truth, and I know this truth about God, the all that there is, then I speak my word. I claim whatever good it is that you're claiming. Claiming good for yourself, claiming good for our country, for our planet, for all people everywhere, seeing collaboration and cooperation as the way in which we work together, win-win solutions for everyone, whatever it is that's in your heart and in your mind. That's the realization step. We claim it as happening now because we know that the nature of the subconscious mind, or what Ernest Holmes calls the law, is that it lives in the present moment. It doesn't live in the past, and it doesn't live in the future. It sees everything as happening now, so we speak in the here and now when we seed this subconscious mind with this higher truth. So we always speak in present tense, and we get ourselves into that feeling state of, yes, it's happening now. And the feeling of gratitude, when think about it, when you plan for a vacation in advance that you're so excited to go to, the excitement is there even though it's not happening yet. I want you to feel the same way when you pray, that you've planted the seed. Oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening. It's unfolding. I'm so excited. And then the Thanksgiving stage is, I give thanks. I give thanks that it's already happening now. I'm so happy and grateful that this good is in my life here and now. And then the release. I release this to the universal law. We're releasing it to the subconscious, but it's even more than the subconscious mind, because we're part of a greater universal substance, or a greater, what Ernest Holmes calls subjectivity, that we can implant with our ideas. And again, the universe is all focused in every spot. And that brings that into manifestation in our lives. So we let go, we let the divine take over, and we listen for guidance as to what is ours to do. And we look for evidence of the manifestation showing up all around us. That's our part. So that's it. Yes, that's spiritual mind treatment. How exciting is that? So I think we've just done a spiritual mind treatment. So anyway, I just give my thanks, and I just honor all of you so much. I know that your lives are enriched as you allow these beautiful teachings that we offer to seed your consciousness. And I invite you to consider, if you're not doing it already, to use this beautiful form of prayer. And so it is.
And so it is.